This is a Purina Puppy Chow cassette tape.
Hey, Bo. Come on, boy. Time to come in. Atta boy. Good puppy. Good puppy. Bo and I here would like to congratulate you on your new puppy and on choosing Puppy Chow, because that means you've already got your little fella off on the right foot. And that's real important right now, because how you take care of your dog as a puppy can affect the rest of his life. See, a puppy's not like you and me, who grew up over a long period of time. Puppies do all their growing in their first year or two. That's why Purina makes Puppy Chow with all that extra nutrition, so those little pups will grow up to be strong and healthy dogs. So you want to be sure you feed your puppy right, and you want to be sure you train them right. That way you'll not only end up with a good dog, you'll also end up with a good friend. And to my way of thinking, that's what it's all about. Okay, Bo, settle down, boy. Now, along with teaching your puppy his name and to come to you when called, one of the first and most basic lessons is housebreaking. Even if you tried to housebreak your puppy before, but it didn't quite work out, give this a try. You'll need a good-sized cardboard box, or preferably a standard dog crate, an empty soda can, a dozen or so pennies, and a fair amount of perseverance. The object of all this is to train your puppy not to use the bathroom in the house. That means every time your puppy needs to take care of business, he needs to go outside. And to help him learn to do that, there are 4 times a day you need to remember to take him out of the house. First thing in the morning, last thing at night, after naps, and after meals. Successful housebreaking begins by putting a puppy on a regular feeding schedule. That means you just follow the feeding instructions on the back of the Puppy Chow package. But you gotta make sure you feed your puppy at the same time every day. Because believe me, consistency is the name of the game here. Now, after you've put his food down, give the little fella 15 minutes or so to finish his meal, and then take away any that's left. Give him a minute to drink some water, and then take him outside right away. Sound familiar, Bo? No comment, I guess. Anyway, since puppies seldom suffer irregularity, once your puppy's outside, he should go about his business in short order. And when he does, it's real important you let him know he has your approval for doing the right thing. Pet him, give him a few attaboys, and then bring him back inside. Again, the key here is to be consistent, because if you keep the feeding schedule regular, your puppy should be too, and that'll reduce the risk of unpleasant surprises. Which brings me to another point. Always feed your puppy the same food. Since a puppy's stomach can sometimes be real sensitive to changes in food, it's best not to vary his diet, especially during the time when you're trying to housebreak him. You're better off sticking with one food, such as Puppy Chow brand puppy food in any of the varieties, original, beef flavor, or chewy morsels. But as I'm sure you're aware, no matter how well you follow the rules and no matter how good your puppy is, accidents will happen. That got a big yawn from Bo. And when they do, it's time for swift action. The first thing you have to do is bring your puppy to the scene of the accident. Then you need to impress on him that what he's just done definitely crosses the boundaries of good taste. But contrary to what you might think, you're not going to holler at him or stuff his nose in the mess or take a rolled-up newspaper to him. Instead, you're going to talk to him. You heard me right. You're going to talk to him with that soda can and pennies I mentioned earlier. Just add enough pennies, a dozen or so, to the can so it makes a nice loud racket when you shake it like a rattle. Now, set your puppy next to the spot he just gifted you with and shake that can like the dickens once or twice and firmly say no. This noisy can has a way of making a lasting impression on a young puppy's mind and is usually darned effective in getting your point across. But this exercise isn't complete until you take your puppy outside to the area you want him to use. That way he gets the point, and odds are you won't have to go through this rattle routine many times. But just to make sure, here's something to remember. After you've cleaned up your puppy's deposit, apply an odor neutralizer, even if you think the odor has disappeared. You see, a puppy's sense of smell is much stronger than yours and mine, and if he can smell a spot where an accident happened, he'll be tempted to do an encore. You can find odor neutralizers wherever pet supplies are sold. If your situation doesn't permit the housebreaking method we've just discussed, paper training is an option you might consider. Basically, you use the same 4-part routine we just talked about, except instead of taking your puppy outside, you put him on the paper. And you do that when he wakes up, after his meals and naps, and just before bed. But be sure you choose the papered area carefully, because he'll be confused if you change locations. And by all means, praise your puppy when he uses the paper. Now, if you have to leave your puppy alone for long periods, be sure to cover the entire floor of the confined area. Then when you're at home with your puppy, decrease the size of the papered area gradually. And as he learns, you can eventually get him down to one section of paper. Still with me, Bo? Good boy. The only aspect of housebreaking we haven't talked about is teaching your puppy which part of the house is his. Remember that crate or cardboard box I mentioned? Well, think of that as your puppy's private bedroom, the place where he sleeps at night and the place where he stays when you have guests or when you leave the house. Of course, as your puppy grows, you can replace his box with larger bedding. Now, just to recap, here's an easy-to-follow daily schedule for you and your puppy. First thing in the morning, take your puppy out of his box and take him to his duly designated toilet area and let him go about his business. Take him out again after his morning and evening meals with 1 or 2 more trips before putting him back in his box for the night. If you follow this plan faithfully, your puppy should be among the more civilized of the animal kingdom in about 4 to 6 weeks, although some pups take a few weeks longer. And I'm here to tell you, the first time your little pup runs to the back door and lets you know he needs to go out, you really feel like a proud parent. And a grateful one, too. This is the end of Side 1. Now, I'm sure you know that while you're teaching your little sidekick good habits, you're going to have to be on the lookout for some of the bad ones he might try to pick up. Bo, you know this part, right? You'll need to watch for chewing, biting, and in some cases jumping up on people. If any of these become habits, they certainly cut in on the fun of having a puppy. The key here is to nip these problems before they become full-blown habits. As Bo here would be the first to tell you, every puppy loves to chew. In fact, needs to chew because he's teething. And it's perfectly natural for a puppy to view everything in his world as a potential teething ring. This includes your shoes, your curtains, and the legs of your dining room table. The first step in correcting a chewer is to get the old penny can, and anytime you see your puppy start to gnaw on something he shouldn't, bring him up short with a few good shakes of the can and an emphatic no. There are a couple of things you can do to prevent destructive chewing. One is to give your puppy something that's okay to chew. You'll find a selection of chewable bones and toys wherever pet supplies are sold. And I'm sure if Bo could, he'd tell you, your puppy would be most grateful to have something legal to sink his teeth into. Another solution is to simply put shaved ice in your puppy's drinking water. The cold will help numb his gums and take away some of the discomfort that makes him need to chew in the first place. Another possibility is to make things around the house as unappetizing as possible. Again, wherever pet supplies are sold, you can find special sprays to use on furniture, fabric, in fact just about anything that could find its way into your puppy's mouth. The unpleasant taste or odor of these sprays will help turn these objects of desire into things your puppy will avoid at all costs. But be sure to follow the directions on these sprays, as they're not all suitable for every situation. Biting is one of the worst habits a puppy can fall into for one simple reason. A puppy that bites grows up to be a dog that bites, and that's trouble. But biting can be stopped if you act as soon as the problem starts. First off, you need to test your puppy, and you can do this real easily. Just take away his food bowl while he's eating. If your puppy snaps at you or even growls, take him by the scruff of the neck so that his front feet are off the floor, then give him a gentle slap under the chin. Now, give him back his food and take it away once more. If his temper flares up again, use our old friend the penny can. It shouldn't take too many times to get your puppy back to his best behavior and acting just the way you'd want him to. Right, Bo? Oops. I think we lost old Bo here to the Sandman. Let's see. Oh yeah, one more thing I wanted to tell you to be on the lookout for, and that's puppies that jump on people. It happens a lot, but there's a real simple remedy. You just bend your knee and push it forward when you see a jump about to happen. That way your puppy's chest will hit your kneecap as he jumps, and after not too many of these gentle suggestions, he'll begin to get the idea. If your pup is too small to reach your knees even when he jumps, you'll have to use another strategy. Just grab his front paws when he jumps and gently push him backward till he tumbles over. As there's never been a dog born that was much of an acrobat, he'll find this somersault business a bit unnatural and not at all to his liking. He'll soon figure out that the best way to avoid a spill is to avoid jumping. You know, one of the hardest things for both you and your puppy is learning to deal with being apart. Like it or not, there are going to be times when you have to leave your house and leave your puppy alone. You're not going to like it, and he's certainly not going to like it. To help alleviate this little problem, here's something you might want to try, and that's practicing being apart. First, put your puppy in his box, pet him a little, and have a short chat. Next, pick up your keys, tell him goodbye, and walk out the door. Try this several times during the day, staying away a little longer each time. After a while, your pup will put it together that when you leave the house, you're not disappearing forever, and that you will be back. Also, it's not a bad idea to leave the radio or television on, so your puppy will hear voices and feel secure. Eventually, you'll be able to leave your house without any problems. But be ready when you return for the warmest and friendliest greeting you ever had. Well, hello, Bo. Welcome back. You woke up just in time to hear about your favorite subject, food. There are a number of things you need to remember when it comes to feeding your pup. First off, as we talked about earlier, you really shouldn't vary your puppy's diet. A puppy needs to get the same food every day and at the same time. The only time you should change your puppy's food is if your veterinarian tells you to. 2, don't ever give your puppy fish, chicken, or pork bones. These splintery bones can get stuck in your puppy's throat or pierce the walls of his stomach or intestinal tract. 3, never feed your puppy from the table. This is the beginning of a really big problem called begging, and while it may start out cute, it soon turns into a very big annoyance. It's probably a good idea to only feed your puppy in his bowl and only with puppy food. One of the biggest disservices you can do to a puppy is to give him table scraps. Don't fool yourself into thinking you'll be a more loving and more appreciated master by mixing table scraps with his meals. You really run the risk of turning your puppy into a finicky eater. Plus, too many table scraps, besides making your puppy fat, can actually upset the correct nutritional balance in his diet. And being overweight is never healthy for anybody, including your pup. Remember, Puppy Chow has all the nutrition a puppy needs to grow up to be a strong and healthy dog. And on top of all that, it tastes good too. Ask your veterinarian. In fact, a visit to the veterinarian is one of the best things you can do for any puppy. Regardless of where you bought your little guy, you should take him to a veterinarian as soon as possible. The veterinarian can check out the pup's general health, catch him up on needed vaccinations, and set up a veterinarian care program appropriate for your puppy. If you don't know a veterinarian, ask neighbors for a recommendation, or look in the yellow pages. Your veterinarian is one of the best friends you and your puppy can have. Come to think of it, it's about time for Bo's annual checkup. You want to go outside, boy? Okay, just a minute. One thing your veterinarian will tell you is every puppy needs a collar and an ID tag. And if you'll check the back of your Puppy Chow bag, you'll find a real easy way to get an engraved stainless steel tag that's made to last a lifetime. Also on the back of the Puppy Chow bag, you can learn how to join the Puppy Care Club, a series of newsletter posters with more information on training, health, and nutrition that'll help you learn even more about your puppy. Okay, boy. There you go. You're a good puppy, Bo. Now, good luck with your puppy. And don't forget, for tomorrow's dog, Puppy Chow today.